Hello, this is the BiblioCraft 1.10 Update Spotlight. I'm your host, Nuchaz. Welcome to my first video spotlight on my own mod. I'd like to share with you some of the updates and changes that I've made in this version. Alright, here we go. Alright, first I want to talk about clipboards. I've made some changes to clipboards that now allow you to place them on walls. Once you place them on walls, you can also interact with them by either right-clicking on any of these squares. You can change the state of the square, check and X or off, or you can click on the next and previous page buttons and change the page. Any information you change on different pages or whatever will be saved to the clipboard, so when you pick it back up, it'll retain all those changes. Like so. Alright, next I want to talk about Plumb Line. This is a new item I've added which allows you to measure depth. Got a fairly simple recipe here, just some string and some gold. Grab one here. Now you can use this through any liquid or through empty space to measure the depth. You simply walk up to the edge of something and right click, it'll measure the depth one block in front of you. Along with the depth, it'll also give you the Y coordinate of the block it hits at the bottom. So this works in empty space or liquids. Alright, that was the Plumb Line. Now let's talk about saws, sheets, and boards. These are some new items I've added to BiblioCraft to help us craft some of the other new blocks in BiblioCraft. The saw is fairly simple. It's just some wood and some iron. And you'll use this saw with a wooden plank. Any kind of wooden plank will work to craft wooden sheets. You'll get 2 of them in a recipe. The same thing with the boards. You put in a sheet, you'll get 2 boards. And that's pretty much all there is with the saw, sheets, and boards. Let's go talk about framed blocks now. So framed blocks are basically new versions of all the various wooden blocks in BiblioCraft. Any block that was available in multi-wood variety before is now available as a framed block. And the framed blocks are made with the sheets and the boards. Basically, the sheets replace wooden planks, and the boards will replace slabs in all the recipes. So they use all the traditional recipes. Now this is the paneler here. I'll talk about this more in just a moment. As you can see, this is pretty much all the wooden blocks. Technically, there's the disc rack, which is wood, and that doesn't come in one of these versions. But other than that, all the wooden blocks have framed versions, including the seats and all the seat backs. So that's pretty much the framed blocks. Now we're going to talk about the furniture paneler. Alright, the furniture paneler allows us to take any one of these new framed blocks and combine them with any solid block and apply the texture of that solid block to the framed block. So let's take this bookcase here and these stack of blocks of diamonds. Blocks of diamonds are always good. So we can take the bookcase and put it into this slot, and this is where all the framed blocks will go. And you can take the blocks and put it into this slot. And you'll see we got a little preview of a diamond bookcase. So this works just like a crafting table. You pull this out and it'll remove the other blocks. So now we got a diamond bookcase, and you can place that, and it works just like any other bookcase. You pick it up and it'll retain its diamondness. You'll have to use an axe because the game still thinks it's wood, but it'll look like diamond, so we're all happy. Now if you go back, you'll notice the stack of diamond block also looks like a little stack of panels. It's because we're kind of basically applying panels to our framed blocks. And that's the way I like to think of it. So let's take a furniture paneler and we'll stick it on there, and we can panel the paneler. So now we got a diamond paneler. And you can pretty much do this with any block. And you'll notice I just started using this without the GUI. You don't need the GUI to use this. So you can, if you have a block that's compatible in hand and you click on the right square, it'll automatically place that block in that square. Same thing with the frame block. You have to click in this square for the frame block to go in. And then once it's in, you sneak click on the crafting result to pull it out, and it'll do the crafting thing and it'll remove those blocks. So now we got a lapis shelf there. As you can see, we can pretty much use almost any block. The panelers, you'll notice they also come in the traditional wood styles, which will be crafted with the traditional wood recipe, but the framed ones, here's the recipe for that. And it uses the saw in the recipe, but you'll get your saw back. So just replace these sheets with any color plank, or these boards with any color slab, and you'll craft these wooden ones here. So we can pretty much just take these and place these on here nice and freely, and grab some different things and put them on here. Sneak click and craft them. And let's see what we got here. We got a tool rack. Craft this some red wool. Just because. Put an iron label. And just whatever you want. The sky's the limit here. All right, and we can take a couple more of these and over here. And let's take a seat here and make a pumpkin seat. And we can take a back here, and we'll make how about a melon back? Now you'll notice also, if you combine seats and backs, they'll also do the two-tone colors just like they do with the woods, but they'll do it with the custom textures. So pretty much the sky's the limit with this stuff. You can color all these blocks with any block you want. And it even works with mod blocks and all different kinds of blocks. So that pretty much covers the furniture paneler. Next, let's talk about some desks. I made a few changes to the desk that allows us to attach them now. So we can use either the screw gun or the hand drill. Now what you want to do is you sneak right click on the first desk, and then you sneak right click on a second desk, and it'll attach those desks. So it works pretty much just like painting frames and seats and such. So we can attach desks, make them longer as well. There really is no limit to how long you can make these. The only thing is they have to be facing the same direction and be next to each other. You notice this wood desk looks a little different than the traditional desk. I had to do a little different version to make these kind of work the way I wanted to, so you'll get a little different variety. The old ones will still be there, but you'll have the new ones as well. And that pretty much covers the changes made to desks. So next, let's talk about painting frames. Now, the borderless painting frames, like I have here, have a new option. If you open the GUI, you'll see at the top a button that says Hide Frame. You click that, it'll do as it says, hide the frame. Not only does it hide it, but you can also walk through it. So this will be useful for anybody creating custom paintings that may have alpha channels, or maybe you just want to put a painting frame on the front of your door and be able to walk through it. So there you go. All right, and the last thing I want to talk about is a per block forced fast render option I added to the config. What that basically means is it'll render the two-dimensional sprite items instead of the three-dimensional items you get on fast graphics. And it'll do this regardless of what your graphics setting is set at. So you can see here, I got my graphics setting set to fancy. However, these potions are rendering to fast. So this speeds up rendering a lot. So if you have performance issues trying to run potion shelves, especially potion shelves, I use them as my main example because they're the most brutal, then this will help you out a lot. And by default, the potion shells, labels, and fancy signs are going to be enabled to force fast render by default. So if you want to change that back to fancy default, you'll need to open your config file and make the appropriate change. All right, that pretty much covers all the major changes in BiblioCraft version 1.10.0. So that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed my spotlight here, and I hope you enjoy the new BiblioCraft update. All right. If you have any questions, feel free to head on over to the Minecraft forum and post on the official thread, and I'll try to respond when I get an opportunity, or post on my website, or you can create an issue on GitHub. You can also leave a comment down here on YouTube and subscribe. Maybe you'll get more videos from me here in the future. All right, thank you for watching. Nuchaz out.